Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everyone, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Even on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve of all days is an amazing day not to be in a cult. And I'll tell you, the cult of Scientology is really hard up for new members, folks. It's almost impossible to recruit people into Scientology these days. And thank God. But they still have to keep trying, or they still have to at least look like they're continuing to try. Scientology has a new series of commercials that they've produced that they are telling their members are being viewed by millions and millions of people all across the country. Now, I guess that's possible. I mean, I guess if they're running, depends on where they're running these spots. But they're pushing it to their members like it's a really big deal. As if some 90-second commercial spots are all of a sudden is going to be like the tipping point for what causes people not to think of Scientology as being a horribly destructive international family destroying human trafficking cult and being the type of thing that somebody would actually want to join. So I figured we would have a little bit of fun and look at the 3 new commercials that Scientology has produced. They have put them on their YouTube channel. But before that, since we're talking about Scientology recruitment and how hard it is for Scientology to recruit people and how much Scientology orgs are struggling, I figured I would share with you just a little bit of leaked information that I'm getting from the Class 5 world. So in Scientology, the lowest level organizations are called Class 5 organizations. Now, technically, there's a type of organization beneath Class 5 orgs called missions, but they're not considered actual Scientology organizations, so I don't really include them in my statement. So Class 5 orgs are like the lowest level actual Scientology orgs where like the rubber meets the road. It's where you're really supposed to join Scientology. And they're really supposed to be prepared to deliver. They're like the main line orgs. They're open 7 days a week. They're open from morning to night. For the most part, they will never close. Okay. Some leaks from the Class 5 world. This past weekend, there was an urgent order sent out to all executive directors of all Scientology orgs around the world that they were to immediately come to the Flagland base, where I live in Clearwater, Florida, Scientology's biggest organization, for a mandatory emergency briefing by chairman of the board himself, David Miscavige. Not only were the executive directors supposed to show up, but so was another staff member called the FBO, or the Flag Banking Officer. Very interesting for the ED and the FBO of all orgs supposed to get a briefing from David Miscavige. The role of the Flag Banking Officer. In this context, flag refers to Scientology management. The Flag Banking Officer is supposed to be a representative of management that is in the org, specifically to make sure that the org doesn't take any of management's money. So when the org makes all its money for the week, technically they turn all the money over to the FBO. The FBO does their calculations, and the FBO returns to the org the amount of money that they're allowed to use to pay their bills and to pay their staff. So it's interesting that EDs and FBOs all supposed to come to Flag for a special COB briefing, and this had something to do with the announcements and the releases that are going to be made at Scientology's annual New Year's Eve event. This event was actually already held and recorded in Los Angeles a week or so ago. It's going to be played in all the orgs. I can't remember. I always remember the events like actually literally being on the 31st, like, you know, the countdown and everything. More recently, they might have changed it so the events aren't actually literally on the 31st. You guys let me know in the comments when you were in the orgs, how recently you were in the orgs, whether they actually held the New Year's event on the New Year's Eve event on New Year's Eve. Of course, as usual, they're being told it is going to be the most important event in the history of Scientology, with several major announcements. And in advance of whatever these announcements are, staff members have been going through all of the orgs and rounding up and getting rid of and destroying the hat packs. So the hat packs are the courses, the course packs that are specifically for certain jobs in a Scientology organization. So it's different than mainline Scientology services. It's got nothing to do with learning how to do Scientology auditing or, anything like that. It's basically your job training course. These things are all being destroyed. So that makes it seem like new hat packs are going to be issued to the orgs. And even org boards are being destroyed. So the Scientology organizing board, it's one of the basic fundamentals of Scientology management. Looks like new org boards are being issued. All of this has to do with David Miscavige's big training program that he's been running for about 4 years now to try and train new command teams for every Scientology org in the world. And it turns out, even 4 years hence, half the orgs in the world haven't even sent a single trainee. And that's because they're supposed to send 17 people is what they're actually supposed to send a flag for each org to basically do a years-long training program. Most of these orgs don't even have 17 staff members, much less 17 staff members to spare, okay? And you have to be qualified, okay? So in order to be qualified, you have to be under 65 years old, ageist. David Miscavige is barely under 65 years old. I think he's 64. You have to be under 65 years old, and you cannot have been involved in any of the massive, of any of the hundreds of millions of dollars of credit card fraud that was committed in Scientology orgs all around the world between 2013 and 2019. This credit card frauds, all of this credit card bank loan fraud, credit card fraud, identity theft. This scheme is such a like a nuclear item. Like this could really explode. That, like, Scientology could literally bring down Scientology practically. It's such a hot item that anyone who had anything to do with that is actually not allowed to be a part of the new command team. So isn't that interesting? I was able to get a peek at some of the actual weekly statistics for some major Scientology orgs in the United States this week, and I do not mind telling you. I wonder whether it's a good idea to put it this way. I can tell you this. These major Scientology orgs that have brand new buildings, David Miscavige has already shown up to pull the ribbon on their new 50,000 square foot renovated facilities. These Scientology orgs on average, and I'm not exaggerating here, are making less per week in gross revenue than I make here on YouTube from Google ads. This is how sad Scientology has become. Major Scientology orgs are averaging about 30 Scientologists a week coming in to do any service of any kind. It's a statistic they have called bodies in the shop. 30 Scientologists of any variety coming into the org to do anything. We're not talking about 30 new Scientologists. We are talking about literally in a city like, let's just say Philadelphia, for example, which is the only Scientology organization in all of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. In 3 entire states for an entire week, and orgs are open 7 days a week, 9 a.m. in the morning to 9 p.m. at night, roughly. And for an entire week, 30 people coming in to do anything. I am going to use the recent numbers that I've received to update my worldwide estimate of the actual number of Scientologists in the world in present time. And there's a pretty good chance this number's dipping below 20,000 Scientologists in the entire world. Okay. By the way, this is one of the reasons, like, Scientologists in these orgs can see that they're small and failing. And it's one of the reasons that Scientology will then go and make such a big deal about new commercials, because we're pushing the front lines of dissemination out to all corners of the world and TV and YouTube. And it's like, yeah, you know, you want to talk about reaching the corners of the world. I challenge you to find a single Scientologist on YouTube talking about Scientology. Can't do it. Scientology's PR is so bad. The internet is such a minefield, such a danger zone from Scientology. But you'll see. And actually, what I've just said is actually even reflected in the new commercials, which we're going to get to in just a second here. Okay, so we got that. Yes, and by the way, leading up to the Christmas season, Scientology always has major campaigns going to try to get the stats up, to try to keep the revenue up, to try to pull on the heartstrings of public Scientologists to donate money so that the Scientology staff members can get a good Christmas bonus. And I will tell you that despite them extending the Christmas bonus period, the number of weeks for which Scientology staff could calculate their bonus based on the revenue, despite that period being extended, despite Scientology very heavily promoting the end of year tax benefits for making end of year donations to Scientology, despite the fact that Scientology has been running holiday Christmas pricing specials, income and delivery stats for Scientology orgs, specifically in the US, I'm talking about right now, are absolutely out the bottom. I swear to God, I just don't think there's anything Scientology can do to reverse the dwindling spiral of their actual Scientology delivery stats. Miscavige will always figure out how to get members to donate money directly to the International Association of Scientologists. That is really where Scientology makes all of its money these days. It's also become essentially a real estate sort of scam empire. It's just interesting. Like when the history books are written about Scientology, they will talk about the point where Scientology actually stopped being an organization that sold Scientology courses in auditing and just became a somewhat multi-level marketing, fundraising, and real estate scam. It's pretty interesting. Okay, guys, let's get to the commercials. This is Scientology's YouTube channel. They are live streaming all the time. They claim to have 15 million members in the world, but I have about 3 times as many subscribers on YouTube as they do. So that's interesting. The 3 new commercials are called Our Movement, Our Church, and Our Voice. We are going to begin with Our Movement. Let me see. I think I want to take a different view on this. All right, let's do it like this. Here we go.
We know the questions. We know the stereotypes. We've heard it all. But we also know who we are. Mothers, fathers, doctors, artists, athletes, chimney sweeps, rebels, and free thinkers. Citizens of more than 180 nations. United by a common purpose, to make life better for all people, all faiths, all cultures, and if someone doesn't like it, tough.
My pearl!
It's not just what you believe. It's what you stand for. We stand for compassion, for tolerance, for truth, for humanity. And we stand for you. No matter what you may face, we're with you.
We're with you.
And our help is yours.
Wow. I love in the beginning, they're like, we've heard the questions. Yeah. Like, where's Shelley? Does David Miscavige beat his staff? Can I see my parents again? When will I ever see my child again? Rebels, free thinkers. It is amazing how Scientologists have actually part of the cult brainwashing. Scientologists truly believe that they are the freest thinkers. Like, it's why calling Scientology a cult to Scientologists, it doesn't do anything. It's like trying to convince a fish that they're dry. Like, it doesn't compute. Like L. Ron Hubbard's rhetoric is such that Scientologists think everyone else are the brainwashed, zombie, drugged prisoners in this prison planet. And like, the Scientologists are the only ones who've been unplugged from the matrix and have been woken up and are able to and are free to think and free to be and free to do and free to have. It's amazing how you convince members of a group of the exact opposite of what they really are. Oh, you're free to think as long as it's what you're allowed to think. Okay. You're free to think as long as you want to think for yourself by reading a book by a former Scientologist, or a book by a journalist that's critical of Scientology, or a documentary about Scientology, or a TV show about Scientology, or videos about Scientology by former Scientologists. Oh, you're free to think, all right, as long as you're thinking the approved thoughts. The stereotypes. I wonder, guys, what are the stereotypes that you guys would have for Scientologists? Because for me, the only thing I can think of is the staring eyeballs, the stare, the Scientology stare. Are there any other Scientology stereotypes? Let me know in the live chat or in the comments down below. Let's see. Yeah, the other way that Scientology claims to be for all faiths, all cultures. It's one of these things. I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. When Scientology was trying to get its tax exempt status back, I believe it was like a 2-year review period, sometime between 1991 and 1993. But as a part of that process, Scientology tried to convince the IRS of something all Scientologists know is not true, which is you can be a Scientologist and be a member of any other faith whatsoever, because Scientology's not a faith. It's an applied religious philosophy, composed of common sense tools that you apply to your life. Scientology is something you do. It is not something you believe. And the IRS was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Pump the brakes there, buddy. If you can be a member of your religion and be a member of any other religion, I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. You're not a religion. And Scientology was like, oh, wait, my bad. That's not what we meant, okay? What had happened was, in the beginning, when you walk in the door, it's okay to be a part of another faith. But as you move up and become more dedicated, you're definitely, you have to just be a Scientologist. And then the IRS was like, are you sure about that? And they're like, yes, definitely sure. We misspoke, and I apologize. Now, even though the IRS was like, that's not, cool. Once the IRS was off their backs and they had their tax exempt status back, and the review period, like the probationary period, was over, Scientology went right back in to just telling and trying to convince everyone they could that you can be a Scientologist and a Christian, you can be a Scientologist and a Muslim, or a Jew, or a Hindu, or a Sikh, or whatever the hell. It's totally false. You absolutely can't. But again, in this commercial, what do you see? You see Scientology acting like their presence and what they do, it's not for their members, it's for all religions. I don't know. What do you guys even make of that? What in the world could Scientology possibly do that is for all religions and all cultures? By the way, they have compassion. They stand for compassion, tolerance, and truth. As long as your name is David Miscavige or Tom Cruise, you can get compassion and tolerance. But if you're anyone else, and if your stats are down, or if you're out ethics, or you're out exchange, I'm not familiar with the compassion and the tolerance side of Scientology. That was not a big piece of it at all. Okay, second one here. Okay, so the one that we just watched, that was Our Movement. This next one is called Our Church, and let's see how this one goes.
What if there was a place that was different, where unsolvable problems could be solved, where science and religion combined? A new kind of place with the technology to unleash your full potential and unlock the secrets of life itself. It sounds impossible.
Yeah. It does.
But you don't have to believe it.
See? You don't have to believe it.
You can experience it. And discover the true power of you.
Okay, okay. I personally think that the commercials they do, where it's saying a bunch of things without saying anything at all, is actually more effective marketing. I'm not saying it's effective, but I think it's more effective than the ones where they try to make specific claims. Because I don't know, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like when I watch a whole thing and it seems flashy and a little fancy and a little mysterious. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard would call it a mystery sandwich, which is what he says is the most effective type of marketing in Scientology. You don't actually answer their question. You leave them wanting more. If you answer their question, they'll go away. That's actually what L. Ron Hubbard said. And that's why he trains the salespeople, in his writings to not answer people's questions. Tell them their questions are in the book and sell them the book. Tell them their questions will be answered in the course and sell them the course. Don't answer people's questions. So, so that was one of those saying a lot without saying very much commercials, which for some reason I actually find a little more appealing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would that get you to join a cult? Would that commercial right there get you to join the international family destroying human trafficking cult that we call Scientology? I don't know. I don't think so. Now, one of the things they mentioned in that commercial, they really like to say that Scientology is like the combination of science and religion. And I responded to a comment in a video yesterday that was like, I can't believe they turned like science and ology. And I said, no. Scientology isn't actually, science isn't a part of the etymology. And after I watched this commercial, I was like, I got to get to the bottom of this. Is the etymology of Scientology based on the word science? And so here's what I looked up just preparing for this video, okay? I said, okay, what's the etymology of the word science? It says science comes from the Latin word scientia. Now, I don't know, it's Latin. Is it scientia? I'm going to say scientia, which translates to knowledge and understanding. Okay, it says the original word Latin, scientia, comes from sede, which means to know. Okay, now when L. Ron Hubbard explains the etymology of Scientology, he never says scientia or sede. He says it comes from the Latin word scio, or right, scio, and so that's why I was like, no, the etymology of science is totally different than the etymology of Scientology. Okay, so this was the answer I looked up when I was like, what is the etymology of science? Okay, then I looked up what is the etymology of Scientology. It says Latin scio, meaning knowing or to know in the fullest sense. And I was like, hold up, time out. How can scientia mean to know and scio means to know? I was like, this is some bullshit. Okay, so then I asked, and I'm doing this with Grok, the Twitter AI. And I said, okay, so does that mean that in Latin, scio and scientia had the same meaning? And it said in Latin, scio and scientia are related, but not exactly synonymous in meaning. Scio is a verb and means I know or to know. And scientia is a noun, which translates to knowledge. My takeaway from all this is that, yeah, the etymology of Scientology is actually based on the same etymology of the word science. And it's funny that L. Ron Hubbard, when he gives the explanation, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say, oh, it's science and ology. He says to know, and then he says Scientology basically means knowing how to know or the study of knowledge. And so there you go, guys. Okay, last commercial. Now, guys, this one gets really interesting. For a long time now, Scientology has stopped using actual Scientologists in its promotion and marketing materials or in its internal technical training films. Because when those Scientologists eventually leave Scientology, as they all eventually will, it's a huge embarrassment that they were used in these public promo materials. Scientology has gone back to using actual Scientologists. And I was watching this commercial when I saw a woman pop up who I knew from Scientology. Tomoko Kato was her name. Now it's Tomoko Ryan. And I'll show you when we get there. But it is my belief that every single person in the following commercial is an actual Scientologist, which is ballsy as hell, in my opinion. Let's take a look at this. So this one is called Our Voice.
In my day-to-day life, when people find out, people are like, wait, what? You're what?
When they find out, they are usually surprised.
They're in such disbelief. because they don't really know what it is.
Whoa, really? I told them, yeah.
Usually they're a little bit shocked.
Or it's something that they've actually been looking for a long time and they didn't know it was right there.
They get really curious about it.
They immediately go, oh, really? And it's like, yes, really.
No, you can't be one. I get that a lot. Like, you're not. Or like the room will go silent. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I am one.
Most of the time, it's actually the really genuine interest.
And we can see that they want to know more.
I actually love answering questions. They'll simply say, hey, well, what is it?
It's sometimes hard for me to answer because
That's Tomoko. Okay, now let me show you real quick, guys. Not only is that Tomoko, she's wearing the exact same necklace in this video as she wears on Facebook in the photo that I found on her profile. Her name is Tomoko Ryan now, but I will show you if I can do this correctly here. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Look at the heart necklace on that chain. And then what are the chances that she'd be wearing the same damn necklace? That's absolutely incredible. Okay, so I'll go back and let's just do it here.
And we can see that they want to know more.
I actually love answering questions. They'll simply say, hey, well, what is it?
it's sometimes hard for me to answer because it contains so much.
It's the most important thing to me, hands down.
It is the only thing that gave me my life back. It's helped me personally, my family, my friends, and my community as well.
It's not for any one particular group of people or any class of people. It's for everybody.
I get questions all the time like, oh, you've been this your whole life? I'm like, yeah, I have.
10 years now?
12 years.
14 years,
21 years. 31 years. 34 years now.
35 years.
46 years.
my whole life,
My entire life.
all my life.
All my life.
I'm a third generation.
And it has completely changed my life.
You know, we're just people who believe in bettering ourselves and bettering the world.
And I'll tell them, yes, I am a Scientologist.
And it's so brave to tell people you're a Scientologist because Scientology has the worst reputation of any religious organization in the United States. It's either tied with Satanism or it's one higher than Satanism. There was a poll taken a couple of years ago, and literally it was like 50 different religious organizations / cults or whatever, as far as the positive perception, negative perception. And the last two organizations on the entire poll results were Scientology and Satanism. Now, here's what's incredible to me. Well, a few things are incredible, but one thing that jumps out is, I mean, look, I'm 44 years old now. I was 34 years old when I officially was out of Scientology. I was 4 years old when my mom first got involved in Scientology. So I was basically in the Scientology world for 30 years. We were always under the impression that every single year was the new year that Scientology was literally being promoted to basically everyone in the world, that the good works of Scientology were being promoted broadly to everyone in the world. And that's one of the reasons prices were so high. That's one of the things all the money went towards, is that promotion, marketing, advertising, media. It's very expensive, and it's necessary to pour all that money into positive press and promotion to counteract all the negative lies and everything being put out by the psych, pharma-controlled media, and all that kind of stuff. To have, never mind the fact that once Tom Cruise assumed his final and ultimate form as Tom Cruise, the super Scientologist, he was supposed to be the one to bring the good message of the good works of Scientology to literally everyone on earth. Okay, Tom Cruise assumed his final and ultimate form sometime around 2004, 2005. That's basically 20 years ago now. So to see this commercial produced where you have a bunch of young third-gen, fourth-gen Scientologists admitting that Scientology's reputation is horrible, that when people hear you are one, the room goes silent. Why do you think Scientology still has such a bad reputation? Why is it so hard? And I'm questioning this almost rhetorically. Like, as a Scientologist, what would you say is the reason why your organization that you think is the most ethical, the most valuable, the most productive and helpful organization in the entire world, 20 years after Tom Cruise been talking about this, still has a horrible reputation. It goes back to the cult programming, the cult think. They truly believe it's because of the psych-controlled, big pharma-controlled media. They believe it has to do with the whole conspiracy theory of Earth being a prison planet, and we as beings are being imprisoned here by alien psychiatrists who man the between lives implant stations and basically are imprisoning us as beings in these bodies lifetime after lifetime on this planet, which is a prison planet. And of course, something like Scientology. That is the only thing that can unplug us all from the matrix, aka release us from this prison planet. Of course, Scientology being that valuable is going to be fought at every turn by the vested interests that run this planet. And that is why everyone has a negative opinion about Scientology. That conspiracy theory allows Scientologists to completely dismiss or ignore the fact that literally everyone has a horrible opinion of Scientology. And the reason they have a horrible opinion about Scientology is because literally everybody who leaves Scientology has a story of abuse and fraud and coercion and coercive control and familial destruction and bankruptcy. And that's what Scientology is, folks. That is what Scientology is. Yeah. Okay. By the way, we're going to get into the starred comments, but I do not want to forget. You guys know I'll forget things at the end of the video. Abigail, I see you in the live chat. Abigail, I got your package today, and I know it's not Christmas yet, but gosh darn it, if I don't do it now, I'm going to possibly forget to do it later. Abigail sent me a few things, and since I did a little what did I do, like the box opening, an unboxing video when Dave's Deep Dive sent me all those gifts, all those yummy, delicious gifts. I'm just going to quickly show you the three things that Abigail sent me. Okay, so this is a Christmas ornament for my puppy Goliath. Happy holidays. Okay, and this is an absolutely gorgeous stein that says Aaron, established 1980. That's when I was born. And if I'm not going to fall over here, this massive tote bag, you guys. Absolutely. It might not look massive on camera, but it is. Saying Aaron, and this is awesome, Abigail. So thank you very, very much. All right, let's jump into the starred comments, and we'll wrap this one up, folks. Keith Owen, the most oblivious cult in the world. C.O. Belf, I saw a Scientology commercial several months ago at a bar in Fairbanks, Alaska, hundreds of miles from the nearest mission, long flight from the nearest org. Their ad buys must be pretty inefficient. That really surprises me, actually, that you would have seen it aired on, because I was also under the impression that Scientology only spent advertising dollars to air these things in markets where where not only there was an org, but the org had already purchased and renovated its brand new building. When I was still in Scientology, we were told that marketing dollars were not going to be spent in markets that had orgs that had not gotten their new buildings yet. So that's interesting. Thank you for the info, C.O. Bilf. Little Things at Home says, I remember when I did a free Scientology course, and instead of being love bombed, I was told I did it wrong. Better than being dragged in, I guess. C.O. Bilf says they are squirreling the admin tech. Quetzalcoatl 2012. Most orgs don't have 17 staff. That is, I'm not exaggerating. Most orgs do not have 17 staff. And I mean, like combined. Some orgs have a day shift and a night shift. It's a bad scene out there, guys. I actually encourage you. I was going to say I challenge you. It's not a challenge. I encourage you. Go into your local Scientology org if you have one. Just see it for yourself, you guys, so that you don't have to keep taking our collective word for it for how pathetic these giant buildings are. How pathetic and empty they are. It's really, truly amazing. Constance June says, are they going to make all those people train at night again at Flag? Yes, Constance June. Everyone that is on the training program here at Flag to be a member of the new command teams for these orgs, they're on a night study schedule. They study at night. They sleep all day. Flag purchased a whole new fleet of buses with completely blacked out windows. All the hotels have blacked out windows. They literally all are supposed to wear sunglasses when they come out of the building in the morning to get ready to go to bed, so their circadian rhythm doesn't get all mixed up and whatever. Anyway, it's probably also one of the reasons that you cannot be over 65, because God knows what's going to happen if you take a few hundred people in their 60s or 70s and make them stay up all night for a couple years. You know what I mean? I feel like that would mess with your body, mess with your heart, mess with a whole lot of things. Doesn't matter to you, not to me, says there is something in those packs that are incriminating. Oh yeah, the old packs that they're getting rid of. Ren listens. Are all these changes meant to confuse those outside of Scientology from understanding internal procedures? Ren, I don't really think so. My personal belief, others might have different opinions. Miscavige has to keep coming up with reasons why Scientology orgs are not expanding. So when he does these massive new evolutions, training, whether it's a training evolution administratively or technically or anything else, part of it is his proposed solution for the latest thing that has been discovered as the reason why Scientology is not achieving its potential in terms of expansion. The truth is, all of the changes that Miscavige is making to the policy volumes doesn't even fundamentally change the policies that are in those volumes. Sure, some of them are going to get removed. Some new discovered ones will be added. Some will be revised, but the changes are not significant. So thank you for the question, Ren. Sean, why didn't the credit card companies refuse service to Scientology? They seem to be in cahoots. Well, Sean, the Chase credit card company did. And to this day, you cannot process a transaction at a Scientology org with a Chase credit card or a Chase bank card. Chase has cut off Scientology. Now, if Visa and American Express and Discover and Diners Club, does Diners Club still exist, you guys? If they would all do it, Scientology would cease to exist. Someone needs to get out the word to the right, bank executives and be like, hey, you want to shut down an international family destroying human trafficking cult? I think there's something you could do about that. Old Frizz, such satisfaction from the knowledge that Scientology is sinking fast. Kimberly in Japan, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Aaron and everyone. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, Kimberly. Thank you for being a member for 9 months, and thank you for joining me tonight. Kristen Mo. I visited New York this past weekend and saw a Scientology commercial on TV and walked past the Scientology building. No one going in. They had a menorah in the entrance. Yes, I mean, I'd be surprised. You probably saw a Christmas tree and a menorah. So there are two types of Scientologists in the world. Those who celebrate Christmas and those who celebrate Hanukkah. They do celebrate those events, even though they don't believe in those religions. Anyone who's ethnically or culturally or familially Jewish celebrates Hanukkah, and everyone else celebrates Christmas. Thank you for the comment. Doesn't matter to you, not to me. Says we had one at Narconon. It was for the public, basically. I don't know what this is referring to. That's because this comment was from 27 minutes ago. Damn it. I don't know what we were talking about then. Sorry, it doesn't matter to you, not to me. Constance June, a bunch of lies in that commercial. Queen Thayton, that was a great commercial. Too bad it's an effing con. Yeah, they do make good commercials. If only they were selling something other than a human trafficking cult. Adam Carmona, good to see you, Adam. Chimney sweeps, they're a bunch of 19th century urchins. What are you talking about? Was chimney sweeps one of the things they said that were Scientologists were chimney sweeps? Did they say that? Abigail, it's scary how legitimate that looked. Yeah. Susie Alt, hard pass. I didn't fall for it when I was 13. I'm sure not falling for their BS now. Old Frizz, chim chimney, chim chiroo. I guess they said chimney sweeps. I must have tuned out. I must have missed it. The uncanny truth. It looks like a Summer's Eve commercial from the 80s. Oh my God, guys, if someone out there in the YouTube verse wants to make a version of the Scientology commercial where it's like, if the Scientology commercials were honest, have you guys seen these things? There's a whole genre of satirical commercials of if rental car companies were honest in their advertising. There's oh my God, there is so much potential here to do if Scientology commercials were honest. And you could probably even just take their visuals and put in a different voiceover. And oh my God, if anyone out there or multiple people out there wants to make, George Massey says, I know the man for the job. Go George. I will have a field day with those commercials. Yes, that could be very, very exciting. Eric Rader, good to see you, man. How long till they have to pull that guy's voice because he got declared? I know, right? I'm thinking the voice actor himself, probably not a Scientologist, because I'm guessing that's like going to be their new voice guy for everything, because that's a pretty good voice guy. And if you're going to get a good voice guy, you don't want him to be a Scientologist. Imagine if they actually had the new talent like that actually sign an agreement promising to never join Scientology. That would be absolutely incredible. Abigail says, okay, the other one was better because it barely showed anything relating to Scientology until the end. This one had more sprinkled throughout, so it was easier to not believe it. From cult to living freely. I'm in those commercials. Wait, I'm in those commercials. Just got me. I'm going, oh, I'm in those commercials. Just got me. I'm going to the Wichita mission to join. There you go. Let me know how it goes. When you're ready to leave, the SPTV Foundation can help. Adam Carmona, you're never supposed to yoke Latin prefixes with Greek suffixes. Oh, super interesting. Scientology starts with a big, dumb mistake. I did not know that. See, I grew up in a cult. I didn't know the rules of proper etymology. That's good to know. Ellen Ramich, I thought that the headquarters for Scientology is in Clearwater, but apparently it's in California. Hemet, I think. Does anyone know what's so important about Clearwater? I'm really glad that you asked this question. Scientology is not very clear about this stuff. So Clearwater, Florida is really it's two things unique. The biggest Scientology organization in the world, delivery organization, service organization, meaning public Scientologists come here, they pay money, and in return, they do Scientology courses and auditing. Those are called service orgs or delivery orgs. Clearwater, Florida, the organization here called FLAG is the largest Scientology service org in the world. It's also the only place that you can do OT7, which is the second highest auditing level in Scientology. You can only do OT7 here. It's weird that Scientology calls Clearwater its spiritual headquarters because it's not even that. So Clearwater might be the biggest Scientology org, but it's not the highest level Scientology org. The Free Winds ship is the only place in the world where a Scientologist can do OT8, and OT8 is the highest spiritual level in Scientology. So it's just a marketing gimmick. FLAG is the biggest org. It's the org where you're supposed to get the most perfect auditing and training, but it's not really the headquarters for anything. Middle management is located in Hollywood. International management is located out near Hemet, California, in Gilman Hot Springs, actually. And even that has now become a bit of a misnomer because the international management body as it used to exist has been dismantled and decimated and no longer exists. And so the new international management is actually sort of a conglomerate of middle management and some other sort of sister entities, if you will. So there you go. Hope that answers the question. Ren listens. The room goes silent because we're wondering how creepy and culty you're going to get. Yep. CO Bilf, they immediately go, really? You are? Let me feign interest and befriend you so I can feed information to Aaron. Yes. Abigail, okay, in my opinion, the first one is the best for them because it barely mentions their name. By all appearances, it looks legitimate until you see the Scientology information at the end. All right. And Abigail says, is church for satirology in here? I would think this is up their alley. Well, I hope it is. I hope it's up their alley and George's alley. And guys, there's so many possibilities for if Scientology commercials were honest. A ton of people could do them. All right, guys, that's all we're going to do this evening. I didn't even mean to go this long, but I think we had a little bit of fun here. Merry Christmas to you all. Hanukkah starts tomorrow. Happy Hanukkah to everyone who celebrates Hanukkah. And thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe